problem. All right, how much wuss do you think I need of it?
I'm just saying, that's why you yaitz them.
Yeah.
We did good mussar this morning on the morning kabura. I have no recollection what we got up to last night. Oh, to the Mam Shiraban, right? That's why. Okay.
Exactly.
Hey,
we're on the top, Menaya, starting next up.
I'm just not used to being on the top of the. I'm saying. Okay, so now we're up to. It's interesting because the Gemara says Minayin af bishtar, right? So far we had yesterday we had the source for kesef, how you could be makadosh and isha with money, and we had how you could be makadosh and isha with bia, and now shtar. So the Gemara asks Uminayin sha'af bishtar, right? How do we know that you could even do bishtar? What's with the af? I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, v'dinhu, and we could say it's a kavacher. Ma kesef shein moitzi machnes kesef. You can't use kesef to divorce a woman, right? But machnes, it can bring her in. Shtar shemoitzi, but a shtar that can, right? We know you get divorced with a shtar, ain't it in shemachnes? It seems like a pashut kavacher. Again, money. You can't get divorced with money, right? We'll see by in the daf why. Right? You can't get divorced with money, and but you are allowed to get married. So shtar that you could get divorced with is in the kavachayim that you should be able to get married with it. So the Gemara says no, maybe not. Malakasa can paidin by hektish or ma'aseh. Kesef has a chumrah to it that you could be paid a hektish ma'aseh, right? If you maktish something and you want to take it back, so you buy it out. And Ma'aseh Sheni, same thing. You can't go take a shtar and be paid the hekdesh and Ma'aseh Sheni with it. Because it says you have to give money and it becomes his. Right? So therefore, you don't have a kal v'chaymer. So on Makra, so that's the Gemara says, okay, so what's a pshat? Why? How do we know that you're allowed to be mekadosh with a shtar? Again, let's just reiterate that a shtar means not a ksuba. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a shtar, what he says, I'm marrying you. Right? You're hereby married to me. Anyway, so Makish Havaya Yitzi, we make a hekish of from Havaya to Yitzia. Kiddushin to divorce. My Yitzia b'shtar, just like a divorce works with the shtar. Havaya now b'shtar, so too marriage also works with the shtar. But this is different. We're saying the same thing we're learning before. It from get, just not from a kavachomer, from a hekish. So Gemara asks, "V'hakash nami yitzia la'avaya." So why don't you go the other way and compare yitzia to havaya? Ma havaya b'kesef, af yitzia b'kesef. Why don't you make the hekish the other way and say, well, you can get married with kesef, so why can't you get divorced with kesef? Amar Abaya. So because ya'imru kesef machnas kesef ma'itzi, are you going to say that kesef you could be machnas or you can bring her into marriage? And kesef, you could take her out. Sneger, yasa, keteger, mamash for Yom Naroim, or whatever, for Elul. Right? Will the sneger become the keteger? Meaning this literally, what literally means a sneger is like the lawyer, become the, what's the word? How do they touch it? Accused, not accuser, right? How do they touch it? I don't remember. There's a way to touch it.
Accuser becomes a defender.
Yeah, but isn't it another word for accuser? The I don't know. Okay, whatever it is. Meaning
prosecutor.
Prosecutor. There you go. That's the word. Thank you. Prosecutor, right? The prosecutor, the defender's becoming the prosecutor. Right? Meaning something that's good, marriage, and you're going to use something that's not good.
Well, in real life, it works the opposite. The guys work for the feds or for the DA for 3-4 years, and they go into private practice and make 8 times the money.
Right. So what do you say? What do you mean?
No,
I mean, they do become.
Yeah, they will become. They all started out working for the DA's office or for the feds. They were all the defense attorneys.
Right. I mean, that's how they get their feet wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not at the same time. The continuing assets negative
right
at the same time.
right?
Right.
So that's
Right.
what it's talking. Never talking about the different times that we understand.
Yeah, but
I think both ways.
is this at the same time?
I think that's what and Katega Nasa Senega. You can't be a Senega at the same time you're a Katega.
Yeah, but the kesef here is not big. The kesef here is at different times.
Is it?
You're talking about that she's
The
getting
Kesef
married and
itself,
divorced at the
money
same
in
time?
general. What?
This is happening at the same time?
No, the concept of Katega Nasa Senega is.
I understand, but the kesef here that we're talking about, it's not at the same time.
Well, but right. So that actually the Gemara is going to discuss now, right? The Gemara is going to discuss that part of the time. Is it the same exact thing that's turning? But either way, what do we use it by Rosh Hashanah, by Yom Kippur? What do we say by Negeh? Wearing gold, right?
Yes.
Progress.
Using a horn from a eagle. That's it.
Right. Using the shofar. That was a good one, Nachum. I couldn't remember. Yeah, very good. So using the shofar because it's from the eagle is the eagle azov, right? From the cat, whatever, right? So Mamela not to use anything like that. And gold, what was in the get to gold on Yom Kippur? Because one second, but he wears white. When he
Right.
goes to
When he
right. So what was it about gold?
the Shmogonim Begadim he wears out in the chutz in the chutz.
The eagle.
The eagle is of.
The eagle is always gold, and they used to dip the shofar in gold. Or
Oh,
something,
that's
the
why he
tip.
changes out of gold. That's why he changes out.
Right.
That's why he changes out of gold. That's what they bring.
Yes,
Yes,
he
yeah,
wears
Is that what it
white
was? Yeah.
inside. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that was okay. Okay, I listen. It's been 11 months. How should I remember? Right. So anyway, okay. So we're saying so Senega, but again, here it doesn't mean literally that the prosecutor is becoming.
Aaron will start the minion for Yom Neroim if you want.
Right. So it doesn't mean that the prosecutor is becoming the what's it called, right? It just means that you're taking something positive and turning it into a negative, right? Okay, whatever it is. So you say the same time about a star. Again, we're going back and forth here, trying to prove that you can be Makadosh and Isha with a star, right? And then we're trying to say, okay, well, maybe you could divorce a woman with Kesef. So what says, yes, star nami, star moitzi, star machnes. Should be going to say that a star divorces a woman, a star brings her in, Kateger, Yasa Sneger, now the opposite. Will the prosecutor become the defender? Right? So what it says, Mili dahai shtar l'chud, umili dahai shtar l'chud. This is sort of what I think David was saying before. Shtar and shtar are two different things. One is a ksuba, one is a get. It's not the same thing. So Gemara says, okay, hachanami, hai kaspa l'chud, vai kaspa l'chud. One is money that he's using, and one is money that he's not using. So meaning it's two different monies. So Gemara says, well, tiva mi'achadu. A coin is one. Right? A coin is one thing. So memela, that meaning it's the same nature. A star is not. Who cares about the paper?
But you're not. But you're using a different coin. You're not using
That's
the same
true.
coin.
But a coin is a coin, right? A coin is a coin. A star is only what's written in it. So in one it says he's marrying her, and the other one it says he's divorcing her, right? But money, it's the same money, right? It's at the end of the day, money is money.
Fungible.
Right, there you go. Yeah. So Rav Amar, okay, so that's the first shot. Rav Amar Kra, Rav says no. Why? The reason why you can't read it. So right now the Maskanas of Gemara is that Keteger, you can't use money to divorce because Keteger is not, we don't want the Sneger to become a Keteger to become a Sneger, keep things separate. Rav says different shot. Amar Kra Kosav law. It says, and he should write to her. Because if she's divorced with writing, and she's not divorced with kesef. So Gemara asks, why don't you say, okay, that make a diak that you can divorce her with writing, but you can't marry her with writing. So Gemara says, well, that we have a pasuk. It says, we make the hekesh. Okay, Mari Isa, who says you should make the hekesh that way? Make the hekesh a different way.
Well, if it's Yosef Haitin, you're gonna learn shtar from get to marriage. Why can't you learn kesef from marriage to get and let it go out with kesef? You just said that you have v'yatzav haisa, and you get and divorce is through writing. So Kiddushin could be through writing because it's the yatzav haisa. So why can't you do that the other way around and say kesef could be by divorce because it's by Kiddushin, v'yatzav haisa?
I don't understand. Isn't that what the Gemara
use
is
the heck?
asking?
It just said to use shtar for it said I don't know. Then I'm confused. If that's what the Gemara is asking, then fine. Okay.
Yeah. Well, now the Gemara says, so who says you should darshan it one way, not the other way? So Gemara says, if it's talking about gerushin, it's excluding gerushin. Kiddushin. We should be talking about gerushin and exclude kiddushin. Right? Fine. So according to Rabbi Yossi, that uses this pasuk. Let's take a riddle. Does anybody remember this from Gittin? I had no recollection. Rashi says in Gittin Daf Chof Aleph, Rabbi Yossi Haglili uses this pasuk for something else. Huh?
Yes, I remember it.
You remember? What did he use it for?
Yeah, I remember it. I'm kidding.
I
totally hit a home run.
I don't know. Somebody, hold on. Somebody's knocking over here. I got to do the accepting of the presents in the Stein house in Lakewood. Okay. Never ends over here. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, so does anybody remember what he darshaned? He uses this drasha of the kosav that you can write the get on anything. Right? Just not food and not what's it called? What was it? Animals. Balei Otherwise, you can write on a branch of a tree, etc. So anyway, so how does he? Because how does, according to Rava, how's Rabbi Yossi Halili going to know that you can't get how do you say it? I lost the track now. Right? That how do you know that a woman can't get divorced with money on my cross, meaning because he doesn't have the pasuk to tell you that has to be written, because he's using that to tell you that a get can be written on any type of anything, right? So on my cross, sefer krisa, sefer karsa vein davar acha karsa. Only a sefer does krisas and nothing else. For Rabbanon, high krisas my avdile, or the Rabbanon who disagree with this whole thing, right? Because he knows it. That's from because of how does he know? How do they know that a get has to be a full sefer krisis? He needs it to teach us that something that's cursed between him and her. And we had this at the end of Gittin. The guy tells his wife, "This is your get on condition that you don't drink wine." And as long as you don't go to your father's house, forever, right? Meaning he makes a how do you call it? A stipulation in the get. It's only a get if she doesn't drink wine, and it's only a get if she never visits her father, right? So that's not a good get because that means she's still married to him in a certain aspect. But Kol Shloshim Yom, but if he only tells his wife that she can't drink wine for 30 days or can't visit her father for 30 days, and then it's a get, then I raise a krisos. That is a get krisos because he totally cut her off. So that's what the Rabbanan learn out. But Rabbi Yosef Glili Mekaras Krisus Kanaf Galei. How does Rabbi Yosef Glili know this? Again, Rabbi Yosef Glili needs it to tell you that you need a get, right? So how does he learn this? He darshans Karas Krisus. Okay, Rabbanan Karas Krisus like Mashmalu. They hold you can't darshan Karas Krisus. Fine. Okay, so now we have the source for all three, right? Kesef Shtar Bia. Now the Gemara says good. So we tried to make these kavachaymers not to learn one type of kinyan out from the other type of kinyan. Fine. Tesi chadami tarti. Why can't we learn out one from two? Right? So Gemara says, hey Tesi, which two are you going to do? Lo yilichte rachmana b'shtar. You don't have to write a pasuk by shtar, but Tesi mehanach, and learn it out from these. So Gemara answers, meaning learn it out from bia and kesef. So Gemara says you can't, because malahana shekena nosan meruba. Kesef and bia have a lot of hana. She gets a lot of hana from that. Either she's getting money or she's getting bia, right? But shtar, what is she getting? A piece of paper? So therefore, you can't learn out from that. Okay, so don't write anything by bia. And Tesi Mahanach, learn it out from kesef and shtar. Right? Meaning there's you can do a lot with kesef and shtar. You can buy many things. You can buy karka, avodim, Rashi says, right? But bia, the only thing you can buy for bia is a wife or a yavama. So it's not as strong. Then what I asked, okay, so don't learn out the word, don't learn out the pasuk for kesef, and learn it out from bia and shtar. Shtar and bia you can be kaina by forcing her. Now, obviously, you can't force a single girl, but you are allowed to force a yavama. You're allowed to force. If she doesn't want, you could force her. You can also give a woman money, in which case her father can sell her. She could be jumping up and down when she's a katana. She could be jumping up and down. Don't sell me. If the father says sell me, right? But so we're talking about. I'm sorry. By an Amavriya, he could sell his daughter as a slave. So Gemara says, you don't find it by ishos. So therefore, you can't learn it out. Okay, so that's why you can't learn. You need specific psukim for each one. Fine. Now we get into whether chuppah is koina. Chuppah. So we call what we call a chuppah. The stance is called. We call it a chuppah, right? Meaning the poles with the thing. Now chuppah could mean another thing. It could be yichud. Yichud could be chuppah. The badekin could be chuppah. Going into the chuppah could be chuppah. Right? There's a lot of things that are chuppah. So chuppah is not one of the three things that you're kind and issue within our Mishnah. So now we have a machlokes whether chuppah is kind. So Amar Rafuna, yeah, chuppah kind. Mikabel chaymer, chuppah is kind from a kabel chaymer. Uma kesef.
That's chuppah. So which of those things is it referring to? You just said it can mean anything.
So all of the meaning each
any
one
of
according
them?
to
any one of them.
Each one according to their shita, yes. I mean, we have to have the concept of chuppah is kind. We don't know. Of course, we're gonna have a machlokes what chuppah is. That goes without saying.
Okay.
That goes without saying. But we have to know that the whole concept of chuppah even works. Right? I'm saying that you need to know the concept. So here he's learning from a kavacher. Ma kesef she'enim meichel b'truma kesef. Ma kesef she'enim meichel b'truma. So kesef cannot let a woman eat truma, right? Meaning once she gets engaged, she's not allowed to eat truma yet. Meaning if she gets engaged, a Bas Yisrael marries a kohen. Once they get engaged, again, we need to know the two processes of a marriage. We call it engaged and marriage, but it's really marriage and real marriage, right? The first is they're engaged, then back then they waited about a year, and then they did the second stage, right? So she's not allowed to eat truma after the first stage, even though she's considered fully married. And if she's mazana, then she's chayv misa, right? But Lamaisa, it's not a full marriage. She's not allowed to eat truma. So ma kesef she'ena meichel b'truma, she's not allowed to eat truma, but kaina, right?
You said she's not allowed to eat truma if she's marrying a kohen, but if she is a bas kohen marrying Yisrael, she could still eat truma. Or both ways, she can't eat truma.
I think she can't, right? I don't think
Both
she
ways?
can. She's married. Yeah, she's yeah.
She gets messed over
I
both.
think so.
She's okay. That's what I wanted to understand.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what Gerson's saying. He's
Unless she
yelling
thinks
at
it's
me.
a milah to marry a kohen, Some women think that, obviously.
She might go hungry. I don't know, but
Okay.
yeah. But anyway, so
L'chayra, not by my wife.
not by your wife. Okay, I mean that's what you said because I'll coin. All right. Anyways,
She's not.
yeah, so
She's not going hungry.
yeah. Yeah. So okay, so let's see. Yuma kesef she'ena Michael b'truma kaina kesef that doesn't let her eat truma. She's kaina chuppah shemachelas b'truma chuppah that she could eat truma. Meaning once you have chuppah, which is nesuin, the second stage, and avada she could eat truma. Ein din shatikna. You realize? I mean, it's a little bit for our brains. It's a little bit backwards. But we're saying that he gives the wife money. She can't eat truma. You give her chuppah, then she can eat truma. Okay, so if chuppah, which is the second stage, works that she could eat truma, so then it should work as the first stage too. Right? Okay, on our base, the Gemara is going to ask the kasha that should be asked. But again, we're saying maybe, because right, that's the obvious question, maybe chuppah only works as a second stage, not as the first stage. Right? We're trying to prove, it works as a second stage, so therefore must work as the first stage. Okay, but maybe it only works as the second stage because you had the first stage. The Gemara is going to ask that. But anyway, that's what the Gemara wants to make a kavachomer. But first, the Gemara says technical. The kesav ain't Michael.
Hey, how you doing? Hello, guys.
You got a mute, yeah. But kesav ain't Michael. Thank you. But kesav ain't Michael. She can't eat truma. V'amar ula dvar Torah arusa bas Yisrael lechelas b'truma. Min Torah, if an engaged girl is allowed to eat truma, shenemer v'koyin ki yikna nevesh kinyan kaspoy. A koyin, if he buys a nefesh, it's kinyan kaspoy, right? Meaning, and then she's also b'hai kinyan kaspoy, and a wife is considered a kinyan kaspoy, so she's allowed to eat truma. Okay, so why are we saying no? Why we say she can't eat truma? They're going to pour her a cup of wine in her father's house, in her father-in-law's house, in his father's house. And she's going to end up sharing it with her, meaning in her father's house. The kohen's going to come for Shabbos, right? Here you go. He got a big bottle of wine, comes to whatever this is, comes in, brings it for Shabbos to his in-laws. He says, but he can only serve it to his kala, right? And his kala is going to say to the brother's going to say, hey, let me get a taste, right? So that might happen. So Mamele made a takana, but Me'ikar Adin, she is allowed to. So therefore the whole Kavachimer is done. Right? Okay. So ask this, meaning it's calling it a pircha, but it really means a Kavachimer. Uma kesef she'ena goimer koina. Kesef that does not do a gemira, right? It's kind of meaning kesef doesn't work for nesuin. Nesuin cannot be when we problem is that we're a little warped from the way we set up a marriage because we think that they're getting married when he gives the ring. That's not the marriage. That's kiddushin. Nesuin doesn't work with money. Right? Nesuin is chuppah or the sheva brachas or whatever it is. So kesef cannot do nesuin, cannot do stage 2 on Tommy Bays now. Chuppah shegemeres ain't a din shetikna, but chuppah, which can do the second stage, isn't it a kal v'chomer that it should do the first stage? Same kal v'chomer, just using chuppah and money now. So the Gemara asks, well, malak kesef can't pay the hektash and ma'aser sheni. You can't bring a raya from kesef because kesef they're paid by hektash and ma'aser sheni. So the Gemara says bia techiach. Well, how about bia? Right, because bia is bia you still can do with kinyan, and you clearly cannot be paid the hektash and ma'aser sheni with bia. Malabia she can kind of be yavama. No, bia also has a chover. You can be kind of with a yavama because so kesef yichiach. So kesef will prove it. Fine. V'chazer adin. And the din will keep going around. You'll keep going around you'll be bouncing around from money to bia, and you're going to say, okay, money will prove it. I'll say, okay, well, bia. then Bia doesn't work because it has the chumrah of Yavama. So we'll go back to money, and then we go around. They're not fitting for each other, meaning each one has its chumras. But what is the common denominator? Shekoinin ba'alma, that they both work as a kinyan, the koinin kan, and they work here for kiddushin. So afani evi chuppah shekoinin ba'alma. Chuppah is koina ba'alma, meaning by nesuin. The kind of kan, it should be kind of there too. So it says, well, no, we have a kasha on this common denominator. The tzara shava is that they have a lot of hana, like we said on Amman Aleph, right? Kesef and Bia have a lot of hana, and chuppah does not. Shtar yichiach, okay, but shtar will tell you shtar works as a kinyan. There's no big hana there. Malas to shtar shekin, why it's but a shtar has a chumrah to it. That doesn't mean chumrah, means a strength to it that it could divorce. So kesef will be yichicha. Okay, so kesef and bia don't have the strength to divorce, but they have the strength to get married. Basically, we're just throwing everything into a blender and saying that there's no way you can disprove all of them. So everything's bouncing around. Nothing is the same. That's out of Shabbat, but there's a common denominator, that they can be kaina in other areas. So therefore, they're also kaina with kiddushin. Fine. So Gemara says, well, the tzara shava, you can all have some way of marrying against somebody's will. Or whatever, not marrying, because get could be against the will, right? We know that according to the old halacha, right? And bia can do by yavama, and money kesef he could sell by karcha, right? So
Bia,
yeah.
I mean, I said it this morning, but Bia is that's what Yibum, that's what Yibum is. You can't compare it to anything else, to Yibum or Yibum to anything else. That's what it is. It's having Bia with her brother-in-law. That's what Yibum is. The Torah said they should have Bia. That's it.
Right, but they could do it by karcha.
Okay, but because that's what the mitzvah is.
Is the mitzvah on him or her?
The mitzvah's on him.
So she does it bal korchai? Sorry, it sounds weird, but
well,
let me say this.
You didn't see the brother-in-law. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
She does it. He does it bal karcha of her. He's doing the kinyan.
He's doing the kinyan, and
he's doing it by force. Well, they could force it.
It works against her will.
What has her will got to do with it at all? In other cases, Isha is kind of medaita. You learned in the beginning of the parak, right? So that's a panuya. So that's only bedaita. Over here, not bedaita at all.
We're looking for one case where the kinyan of Bia works bal karcha. The kinyan of Bia works bal karcha. B'yavama.
If there's two brothers, is it still bar karcha?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
You can marry her. She says, I don't want to participate in this. They say, well, too bad. You have to.
Why? There's chalitza.
No, but it's his choice. It's not her choice.
No, it's his choice only. She can't say any rights
no. At least not according to the Iker Din. What we do nowadays is a different story. So obviously nowadays we don't do bivim anyways, but I'm saying,
chalitza is not mina Torah. We don't have such a din of chalitza mina Torah. I think I know.
We do if the brother
if he doesn't want to do yibum, then she does chalitza.
She could jump up and down and say she wants to marry that brother-in-law. If he says no, then it's chalitza. Is this lack of women's rights bothering you, Rachamim?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Progressives from Woodburn. Anyway.
So I'm saying you can't compare the other things to Yibum. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but Lamaisa, it's a form of marriage and it could be done by al-karcha.
It's not a form of anything. It's the brother-in-law has relations with his sister. That's what Yibum is.
Yeah, but it's
don't
they're
marriage.
married.
Don't
That
give me
they're
any
married.
romantic books.
Right, Rashi
Okay,
says,
didn't we say?
Rashi
Didn't we say
says
during-
by
we did your
Yibum,
vomit?
that's
They're
not
they're married
married.
l'chol davar.
What did we learn, Yavamis? They're not married. It's a one-time thing.
No, it's not. It's
Oh,
only
that's what we
because
learned.
Rashi says
they're married.
that's it. It's the whole thing. That's the whole deal.
That's
Married
what we
l'chol
learned. We
davar.
did Yavamis. We learned Yavamis. It's a one-time thing. I
You
listened. I paid
learn-
attention.
so learn
I
Yibum.
thought I was the one on morphine here. What is going on? Yibum is a Kenyan. He's married now. Period. There's no end to it. It's a
One
Kenyan.
second, I'm not
Correct.
crazy. We learned Yavamis.
Doesn't matter
and we
that
said it's
that's
a
the
No,
only
I
one-time
disagree
thing.
with that. I
That's
disagree with that.
debatable.
That's not even debatable. Go ahead.
What?
That
You
he's
disagree
crazy.
with-
Naftali. No,
Oh,
Naftali said
okay.
he's not crazy.
Okay, fine. That's okay.
Okay. Go ahead. Now say what you want to say.
When we learned Yavamis, didn't we say it's a one-time
Whether
thing?
it's the only way to do it or not. No. The mitzvah of Yibum is one bia. After that, they are married.
When we learned Yavamis, we said they're not married.
Naftali,
afterwards.
hold on. Yes, they are. They're 100% married. What you're referring to is when there's a lav involved. There is one way of saying that if he's going to say a seidoy chalaisa, say they can have the first beer. That's a seidoy chalaisa, say, then give her a get. Anything after that is pure marriage. But she needs a get. They are married.
Rabbi, when we learned Yavamis,
We
Didn't we
said
learn
that
it
you
was-
only get one time because we're afraid it's not erlich.
Okay, we did say it. Okay,
Yes, we did say that. Correct.
nothing to do with lavim, like Gershon saying.
Correct. Well, if he's doing it not erlich, then it's nus.
No. There's no. Gershon saying if there's some lav, you have a Esed Derchalaz say in a case, so that's a one time. I'm saying all yibum. We came out with all yibums are a one time thing.
That's
The mitzvah is
practical.
one time. Yeah.
Right after that.
I'll say it differently, Gershon. They're not married afterwards anymore.
No, they
Yes,
are married.
they are.
They are married.
Okay,
Naftali, they're married.
All right, so I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
They need a get. They need a get.
Okay, so I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, I remembered it. I remembered wrong. Okay.
Okay. Let's see. No, let's see. But okay. So now, so that's it. So that's what we're trying to. So that was saying that you can't learn it out from there because they all have Baal Karchos. So Rav Huna, what's Rav Huna going to say again? Rav Huna holds of Chuppah. So what's he going to answer? Kesef miya beishas le'ashkan Baal Karchos. By Kesef, by marriage, is that you don't have any Al Karch. There's no way to do it by force, right? So therefore, you can't. So therefore, you could continue learning out Chuppah from them, right? Yeah, fine. Amar Rava. So that's again, so Rav Huna is holding stark that you can learn out Chuppah. Amar Rava, shtei tshuvas bedavar. There's two answers, meaning Rava holds that Chuppah doesn't work. Chada is balabatish. I don't know, I'm just a phrase. The shalosh tanan v'dalad lo tanan. How can you, an Amayra, come along and say that there's a fourth way to marry a woman if the Mishnah only says three, and now you're coming and adding a fourth? That's one kasha.
Because we never add anything ever, right? We do that all the time.
100%. You beat Rabbanan to it. But
here we don't want to say that. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to say it in a minute. I mean, that's going to be the defense. This was the obvious kasha that we had on Amud Aleph. Chuppah only works if you did Kiddushin first. Meaning a guy can't just walk over to a woman and just say, well, let's come under the chuppah, you're married. You first need Kiddushin, right? You're learning out chuppah without Kiddushin from chuppah that came with Kiddushin. How can you learn that, right? That reminds me of the joke. Parrots, remember this joke? What's in it? He said the Briskers used to make, I don't know if it was true or not, when they pay for money in a store, so they would give money to a woman, a cashier, and they would say Shalom L'Shem Kiddushin, right? So there was a let who walked around with an umbrella. If the umbrella went over a woman, he would say Shalom L'Shem Chuppah. So okay. So anyway, so chuppah doesn't work.
Meiri do with this line?
What?
What does the Meiri do with this line?
The Meiri with chuppah?
Have chuppah before Kiddushin.
You could. Well, yeah. So that's a yeah. Well, that's the problem. If you hold, thank you for bringing it up. If you hold chuppah is a kinyan, right? By our chuppahs, the kala comes into the chuppah before the kedushin even, right? And the same thing with the badekin. If you hold the badekin as chuppah, so the chuppah happened before the kedushin, right? So how's that work? Okay, shine another kasha. Yeah. Okay, it's Friday. Amarle Abaya, Hod the Kamrat, Gimel Tanan, Vidal Loitanan, that it only says 3 in the Mishnah, not 4. Tana Mills of the Ksiva Badji Katani. The Tana is only things that it says Beferish in the Torah. Mills of the like Ksiva Badji, like a Tani. What it doesn't say in the Torah, it doesn't say. So we're adding Chuppah because the Chuppah doesn't say Beferish in the Torah. And this thing is saying that chuppah only works if there was kedushin first. That is what Ravuna is saying. Money does not work after giving money, meaning you can't use money for stage 2 of marriage, only stage 1, but it still works as kedushin. So chuppah should get merasach kesef. Chuppah that works after giving money ain't a din shetikna, isn't a kavachaymer. That it should work with the kinyan, right? Meaning he's saying again, kesef doesn't work after kesef, meaning kesef works for stage 1, not for stage 2, right? Chuppah works for stage 2 after kesef of stage 1, so that means it's more chomer, so therefore chuppah should work for stage 1 too. Okay, that's what he's saying. Now we get into exactly how you do the kedushin. So Torah ketzad b'kesef. How do you makadosh nisha with kesef? So nasan lo kesef, oy shava kesef. You give her the money, v'amar la, and you say to her, Hariyam mekadesh li, Hariyam ureses li, you're mekudesh to me, you're engaged to me. If that's the way we're touching it, Hariyam li into, you're to me for my wife, Hariyam mekadeshes. That's interesting because here it sounds like you give the money first, and then you say it. That's not the way we do it. We make sure if the chassan puts that ring on the finger before he says it, the Messiah Kedushin makes him do it again. Right? From this Gemara, it sounds like you give first, and then you say it. Okay. Aval, he should know, but let's say she gives the money, right? Va'amra hi hareini mekadesh lach, and she says, I'm mekudesh to you. Hareini mureses lach, hareini lach leintu, eina mekadeshes. Right? This is why when you have couples where the guy wants to wear a ring, so most Messiah Kedushans have no problem with it, but it can't be under the chuppah. Right? Some of the real modern, or maybe not religious, he gives her a ring and she gives him a ring. That we don't allow, right? That has to be done later after the chuppah. If it's after the chuppah, he gives a ring, fine, but not under the chuppah because it doesn't work. So maskul rapapa has the kasha time the nasan hu amar hu. The reason it's mashma that if he gives and he says harei mekadeshli hanasan hu amar he, but let's say he gives the money and she says it ain't a mekadeshes. She's not mekadeshes. Aim a seifa. What about the seifa? But the Sefer says if she gives and she says, Loy Kedushin is not a marriage. Timer the Nasnahiva Amrahi. That's because she said and she gave and she said, Had Nasan Hu Amrahi. But if he said and if he gave and she said, have a Kedushin. So basically it's a stira. From the Reisha it's mashma that if the husband gives and she says, it's a good Kedushin. From the Sefer it's mashma that's not a good Kedushin. I'm sorry, from the Reisha, it sounds like it's not a good Kiddushin, and the Sefer, it's mashur that it is a good Kiddushin. So Reisha, so one answers, Reisha's dafka, that it doesn't work. Sefer Kedin Nasba, and the reason why the Sefer wrote it that way is because Agav. Like once it wrote it that way in the Reisha, so it wrote a similar terminology in the Sefer. So when I asked, Vatani Sefer, Bilsa the Sasrul of the Reisha, because you want to keep your terminology aligned, so therefore you're going to write something that's a stira, or seemingly is a stira. So Ella, so that can't be the pshat. Ella, again, Ella means that we change the pshat. Nasan hu v'amar hu pshita davi kedushin. If he gives the money and he says harei mekadeshes, it's pashat kedushin. Nasan hu v'amra he. If he gives the money and she says nasa kamisha nasna hi v'amra he, it's as if. That's the part we're sticking in. If he gives and she says, it's as if she gave and she says, v'lo have a kedushin, it's not a good kedushin. Viba yisema. Or another pshat, nasan hu v'amar hu mikudeshes. If he gives and he says she's mikudeshes, nasna hi v'amra hi. If she gives and she says ain't a mikudeshes, she's not mikudeshes. Nasan hu v'amra hi. But if he gives and she says sveikahi, that's a suffix. V'chashina midrabanan, and midrabanan we're going to be chashiv for the marriage. So between the two girsais in the Gemara, the first one
says that it's not a good Kiddushin. Second one says it's a Suffolk Kiddushin. So since it's a Suffolk Kiddushin, we're going to require them to get divorced. Right? Okay, I got to stop now because I got to get across town for Shabbos. So we'll continue Matzah Shabbos probably a little later. We called it for 9:30, probably a little bit later, but because Shabbos a little later. Fine. Have yourselves a fine Shabbos.
Thank you.
Shabbos and Chodesh.
Good Shabbos and Chodesh.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yaakov, you're in Lakewood still?
I'm in Lakewood still.